Ooga fucking Ooga cunts. It's Schmeckle. It's I almost said the Cuntstream thing. Tonight we have Samaj. Nobody cares about him, but also Peach Balie, the
Hey guys.
Peach Balie, as advertised in the title. The Peach Balie, the one and only.
I'm not a knockoff.
Yeah, not a knockoff at all. Definitely the real one. I mean, not sugar tits, but we got Peach.
Quivering in fear.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Pop up.
Then the one making the noise there is Vadim Newquist.
Hello.
The human slave of creationist cat.
That's me.
And then the other guy is Frank Sinatra. You've all heard him. Great singer.
Hello. Yeah. All these people know me.
Yeah, of course they know you. Anyone who watches my channel knows all of you. Samaj.
Yeah, Samaj isn't here enough to be known.
Exactly. Why do you even mention my name? You know I'm fucking nothing.
You should all know him, though. Despite always talking shit about Samaj, I should point out he's the one that does all the artwork. He's the reason my channel looks somewhat decent.
Yeah.
And I'm still waiting on that one art I asked for.
Oh yeah, that thing you want from me with no money. I'll get right on that.
I'll pay you.
Oh, now you'll pay me? Oh well, I'll get right on that, sir. Yes, sir.
I will get you your one time.
Oh, something just broke.
That would be me. I forgot there was a plate next to me.
He got so excited he just knocked the plate off the money.
I'm gonna be making money.
I'll be able to afford a new plate.
I'm not paying you that much.
Oh, I feel so loved. All right, I'll be back.
Tonight we were looking to, or I was looking to, speak tribalism. The whole. You've seen it. It's us versus them. It's, as far as anyone looking at this right now sees it, it's the four of us versus Vadim.
Yeah.
I'm not versing anyone. Sorry.
Well, Peach is against everyone. Peach has no side.
No, I'm cool being against all you guys. Fuck all you guys. Fuck.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm kidding. Hello.
And see,
I've heard things. I didn't know it was true.
Like Vadim was joking there. A lot of people do have that mentality.
Yeah.
They just they're the other side. They're the bad guys. Everything they say is wrong, even when they're objectively right.
You know what I think part of it is the ease of how easy it is when you're talking about anybody to just say them and we. Us,
exactly.
Them, we, they. That even just at a subconscious level might be something that you do that. What do you call it? Solidifies it as divided in your head.
I feel like focusing on arguments as an argument by argument basis, as opposed to, well, creationist cat said this, so he's probably wrong off the rip, is just a silly thing to do. You just handle each thing as it comes.
Sure. Yeah, I'm all for that. I don't consider myself someone who judges according to preconceived biases. I try and avoid that as much as possible. I guess everybody kind of falls into that without realizing it from time to time. But I guess I'll just throw this out there. Are there any things that come to mind specifically with me that you got at times where you guys have thought that I was basically doing that I was backing someone up just because, or condemning them just because of like some sort of tribal thing?
I wouldn't call it tribalism. I would say that it's just a personal grudge, but I think that a lot of the time, you and Devin Tracy have your spats, which are very cute to watch, but I think both of you kind of talk over each other sometimes and just hate each other because of who's saying it rather than what's being said. That's the only thing I would.
I mean, but yet I don't know if he's done the same for me. Like I have, in rare cases, given the guy a little bit of props. Like for instance, I have admitted that I think he has aesthetically a really good editing style. I find a lot of elements of his videos fucking annoying, and I did before we ever had any personal problems. But it's like I can kind of own up to that. I give him a little bit of credit, although I take some points away for the fact that he was talking shit about Donald Trump. It's like I give him points for that, yet at the same time I do take some away because of the fact that, one, he went crazy on Donald Trump fans and just kind of like reinforced a lot of Trump fans' preconceived notions of Hillary supporters. And two, he also kind of promoted people who I personally think are kind of people who eventually like helped Donald Trump out, like David Rubin, like Gad Sad, and whatnot. But so yeah, I hope I'm not over talking this, but my point is that yeah, I think the guy's kind of a putz. Like he's one of my least favorite people on the internet. But I'm capable. I always try and give, kind of credit where credit's due. That's.
But as far as his arguments go, I mean, like his aesthetic style isn't really where his points are. I mean,
right,
when he's making points.
I usually think his points are shit, or it depends on the topic, of course. I mean, I suppose if we're going to talk about, Donald Trump or just religion in general, there's going to be a lot of areas of agreement, actually. But I mean, like, is there are there specific things that he pointed out either about me or times that you saw me kind of saying like some point of his was bullshit that you thought really had a lot of merit to it?
I don't know, honestly, I don't follow the things that you...
I just want to throw it out right there. There are a lot of fans of Creationist Cat who are also fans of his. So, I'm not... No judgments here is basically what I'm saying.
No, that's fine. I was just going to say, like, I don't follow your, basically him doing response videos to you or you responding to him. I don't follow that that closely. I just know that that's pretty much all I know you from is through, like, that kind of infamous, feud that you guys have going. So in terms of, like, your other videos, I can't really speak to a lot of that because I don't watch them, sorry.
Can I just pick something you just said? How did Dave Rubin help Trump?
Help Trump? I think that he has always been kind of reluctant to really criticize him in a substantive way. If he has, it's mostly been very superficial ways that are very safe. He helped reinforce like this idea that and don't get me wrong, things like this, there is some like merit to these things individually, but he will take things like SJWs and political correctness in general, and he reinforced the idea that these things are such a threat to America and the world that someone like Trump is a far better choice than Hillary, and there's there's a lot of other probably things that are not really coming to mind. I mean, he said, I think that this exemplifies exactly like how he was towards Trump, even though that this was said after Trump won. But when Trump won, he said something to the effect of, now I'm going to be the first person to hold Trump's feet to the fire. And the closest that he's come to holding his feet to the fire in like the past year since Trump took office is like maybe he like like took his feet up to like the fireplace and gave him a nice foot massage. You know, I mean, he has by no means been critical of this dude, and he's even said things like, you know, I'm trying to remember what I'm always bad at remembering exact quotes, but he said something to the effect of that he doesn't criticize Trump now because, like, if he does, then like the other side will get the upper hand. You know what? I'm going to try and find it because I'm paraphrasing that very poorly. But yeah, I think that there are a lot of ways that he kind of was kind of a. I mean, is this like a shock to you? Do you not like?
I don't follow David personally.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, when Dave Rubin first started, like the first couple of weeks, I thought like, okay, this is cool. He seems like, you know, like he because it's not like I don't think that there's any worth to pointing out things like problems on the left and kind of you know, there is such a thing as regressiveness on the left. I'm not going to deny that, but very quickly I think he just became like a lot of YouTubers these days. He realized that it was a cash cow, and he doesn't really apply the same level of skepticism towards the left that he does to the right. On top of that, I honestly, I don't think that he was ever very left-wing to begin with. This whole kind of like last liberal thing, and I mean, it's just, I don't really buy it. That he also has like this weird take on classical liberalism. Like, I don't think he really understands that classical liberalism is actually libertarianism, not really. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. We're talking about tribalism. But yeah, I could go on for a while about that guy.
Well, do you think
not one of my favorites?
Do you think there's anybody on the quote unquote right?
Vadim.
Yeah, just a little bit of an echo.
Oh, okay. I'll grab some headphones.
I'll let him do that real quick before I ask my question.
Oh, you can go ahead and ask it. I'm about to plug these in.
Do you think there is anybody on the quote unquote right who does hold Trump's feet to the fire in a way that you see fit enough?
Okay, hold on. Ooh. I'm sorry, guys. Can you hear me? I know.
Yeah, we can hear you.
For some reason, this headphone jack is not. Okay. Hello, can you guys talk?
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Is it me?
Weird. I know you guys are talking, and it is. Oh, I have to change the settings here. I can't hear you guys.
Yeah, it might be the settings.
Get good, fam.
Okay. All right. And you guys can hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear
okay. That's a good question. In general, I mean, there are. It depends. There are certain YouTubers who are more centrist than I am, who I think like attempt to do things. I mean, offhand, I can't think of anyone
just general.
Offhand, I can't think of anyone who really nails it. It's a little difficult right now because, I mean, quite honestly, Trump, in my opinion, is like this fucking disastrous horror show of a presidency, and it takes someone who is willing to really point that out. And if people do point that out, then they're going to be alienating some of their potential audience and their patrons. So I'm sure there's somebody out there that I'm not thinking of right now.
Well, the one that jumps out to me immediately is Ben Shapiro. He just blasts Trump. And
yeah,
it hasn't seemed to alienate any of his audience.
sure. Ben Shapiro, I have a lot of huge problems with the guy, and I think sometimes he, on certain issues, is way off. But he certainly seems to have more of a sense of, well, he's both more intelligent than a lot of people in his field, and on top of that, I think he has more just a sense of integrity. And I'm not saying he's the bar, as far as I'm concerned, is set pretty low there. So I hope that doesn't sound very harsh, but I think that's sort of true. And he does. So yeah, I do think that the guy has more integrity than most in his field. If politics was a different, like if this was 10 to 20 years ago, someone like him, I think he'd probably be even better. And one person who, I mean, he's not really that considered that right wing anymore, but he used to be, is I'm trying to remember his name. It's Andrew something. I think he's a frequent guest on Real Time with Bill Maher. He's a huge Trump critic, but I'm trying to fucking remember his name. I know he's gay, and he also you know what, I'm gonna find him. Maybe you guys wouldn't be familiar with him. He's been on the Sam Harris podcast a couple of times.
Oh, Douglas Murray?
No, not Douglas Murray.
Okay.
I am not a huge Douglas Murray fan, but I think I need to kind of hear him out a little bit more before I really make an opinion. You know what? I can't find this guy's name.
Are you a big Sam Harris fan?
I mean, I think in the past year or so, he's kind of been a little increasingly disappointing, but I'll always have a great deal of respect for his work with the Four Horsemen, and really kind of the majority of his written work until the last few years. Actually, I guess I should say, other than articles, I haven't read anything that he's published since maybe 2015 or so. But yeah, I think he's a really interesting guy, and I just wish he'd kind of, I think he is, just, again, he's very supportive of David Rubin, people like Gad Saad. I think he doesn't kind of realize how often some of the people that he touts kind of work against some of the values that I think he actually cares about. But yeah, maybe I mean, he's certainly better than others, and he's not, he's not really right wing. He just has slight right wing tendencies.
So as interesting as the whole the Trump thing will continue to be until he's not president, I was wondering if we could return to the topic at hand.
Well,
Sure.
I was kind of trying to move back to that because I'm pretty right wing on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
On most things.
He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I'm a piece of
among
shit.
all things. It should always be pointed out in any stream I'm in. Not
But,
an absolute piece of garbage.
Sam Harris is the only person, and probably will ever be the
I
only
wouldn't
person
rape you.
I will patron. So saying it's in group out group that the right wing, and I know you didn't say this, but in the topic of tribalism, saying that the right wing doesn't like Sam because he supported Hillary, or that if you talk bad about Trump fans are going to stop liking you, I think that's silly.
Well, there's a lot that Sam has to say that really appeals to the right wing, and he is. The same thing happened with Devin Tracy. He all of a sudden kind of learned, oh my God, so many of my fans are extremely right wing, and that's I think
So you think these people both just pander and they don't actually think anything that they say?
no. Actually, I think a lot of people who are on the right do pander, but I actually think that those people do do say mostly what they think. It's just they don't realize how much how many ways in which there are areas of agreement with them and the right wing, and kind of things that they say that appeal to right wingers.
Do you think pandering is a unique thing to the right?
Absolutely not. No, I think that there are certainly left wingers who do. Although I think overall, even though that there are I could name more left wing sources that I'm not necessarily crazy about, but that have always been really willing to criticize the left. Like, for instance, the Young Turks. They were during Obama's presidency. They criticized him fairly heavily. Also, Kyle Kulinski, David Pakman, a lot of people who are kind of like, in progressive YouTube circles. When you move to kind of like, I'd say like more mainstream news, there's less of a willingness to do that in like a substantive way. But I wish that there were more people on the right who would do that with Trump. And perhaps if we had that, we'd have more kind of, I don't know, recognition of just how off track things are with his presidency. But
Vadim, I don't like a whole bunch of people interrupting and shit. Is there any way we can limit your monologues to?
Yeah, dude. Sorry, I apologize if I'm kind of like doing some little soliloquies here. I'm usually like a pretty thorough person, and a lot of times when I'm in a hangout, it's like I'm being interviewed, and I'm kind of like it's about me. So I will give the floor over to others. I apologize.
Nothing against you. Just you're in here with two Canadians, a lady and a pussy, so nobody's gonna interrupt you. We're all too polite.
Which one am I?
You.
I would like very quickly though to address somebody said in the chat, have I gone full SJW? I mean, I've always kind of had a like this sort of streak. At the same time, I mean, there are CC videos that like make fun of feminist slam poetry. There's CC videos that make fun of like ridiculous SJWs, like the girl who got really freaked out over the dude with dreads. I also like have videos where I kind of mercilessly go after Islam. So my take is the answer is no, but
I don't think
depends on how you defend it.
I don't think being
that
in
connects well to the topic, right? Like, you don't agree with every SJW, right? No.
Well, I don't think being atheist and going after Islam is not SJW. I think that's just common sense.
Yeah.
Well,
It
depends. What your definition of SJW is. There are some people who think of SJWs as just being. Some people just use it these days as kind of a word for being left wing, and I think it's more SJWs are people who are unreasonable, who kind of use identity politics issues too often, and kind of are kind of unreasonable and bossy.
Well, if you want to consider the SJWs like the undesirable part of the left, the same way that the alt-right is the undesirable part of the right, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to draw a line around, like, here's the bad part of the right. We don't want to be associated with that. It's a lot easier to do that on the right than it is to do on the left with the undesirable part.
Can you repeat that? I was reading something that someone was writing in the chat.
If you look at the left and the right as a whole, like the left wing and the right wing as a whole, and you look at the undesirable parts the same way you talked about the SJWs and the alt-right are both undesirable to each party, it's a lot easier to find the alt-right and draw a line around them and go, who said this? I think it was Jordan Peterson said, you guys are out of the club. It's a lot easier to find those people on the right than it is on the left.
See, I think that there might be more people on the right that I think, I mean, like Jordan Peterson to me is somewhat of a joke. And although there's a minute amount of what he says that is kind of interesting and perhaps worth its salt, there's a lot of crazy bullshit that guy spews. And I don't know. I think that I would think that there are more kind of unreasonable people than you're aware of, or than, you know, I don't know, than you notice.
I think there are more vocally unreasonable people on the left.
That's why I said undesirable as opposed to unreasonable.
Right. And then I also think that there are times when, you know, the right wingers can be special snowflakes as well, and don't really
people
get
like Laura Loomer and Jack
the whole fucking
Sobiek
is
that dude. They're every time I see anybody mention Laura Loomer on Twitter, I just reply and say she's awful.
Never even fucking heard of her. But
they're the people who interrupted the Shakespeare in the Park play.
Yeah, she did that. CC has a video on all of that, and he also goes into what's his face, Mike Cernovich's reaction to all of that. That guy's a fucking lunatic and a half.
Cernovich is kind of a moron.
I made a video about Gavin McGinnis when that happened. Now I love Gavin. I think he's extremely entertaining. I don't think he's right on everything, but I think he's very entertaining. And I made a video and said Shakespeare in the Park is free speech. Saying you're pro free speech and then promoting someone who interrupts a play, only one of those ideas can be true at once. So it's easy to take that line.
I'm sorry. You can interrupt a play, and you're not fucking taking anyone's free speech. You're just being an asshole. You're interrupting a fucking play.
If it was a play,
no matter whether or not you have a political reason for doing it,
put the shoe on the other foot, people would have been mad about it.
Shutting down a fucking play.
If you put the shoe on the other foot, people would have been mad about it.
Well, also,
I mean, people should have been mad about it either way. This guy who shut it down is an asshole, but he's not
the chick who did it,
interrupting a show.
Interrupting a show that people like have spent, like, because I've gone to Shakespeare in the Park before. You don't buy tickets for it. You have to like wait for hours in order to get free tickets early in the day. It's like something that you have to spend all fucking day doing, and you have these actors that are incredible. It's like something that should be respected. So anyone who like, in my estimation, interrupts something like that is just a fucking asshole. Whether they're on the right or the left, I mean, I don't know. I don't have much. As a performer, I don't have much patience for that shit.
And as someone who enjoys live performances, I don't like
their freedom of speech.
I'm not trying to get hung up on the free speech aspect of it. But what I'm trying to say is, God.
Yeah.
I was going to say that we tend to have this little like rule of etiquette when we go into other places. It's sort of an unspoken rule. There is no law saying that you must
asshole when you go to places that aren't your house.
Well, exactly. I mean, these are just the ideas of etiquette. Like, if you're going to go to someone's house, you don't shit in their living room. Obviously, you don't do that. But it's the same thing. Like,
if you shit in your living room, don't shit in mine.
Well, and it's like if you go to a movie theater. I mean, don't interrupt the movie just because you want you think like women aren't being represented properly in this. Or it's the same thing with this. It's just one of those like it's common decency. more than anything else.
Well, I think it is too. Like people. Oh God, I'm dying. People get mad at people who interrupted Milo's speech or Ben's speech. People get mad at that. They're doing the same exact thing. That in essence, they are doing the same exact thing that other people are doing when they interrupt a Milo or a Ben speech.
Yeah, I think I find it a little more acceptable when it's like a speech and not like a private performance, but I still ultimately agree with you. Like it's still like pretty bad. It sort of depends. Like I've heard there are sometimes with some of these things that there are actually like not as many opportunities for people to ask questions, or they like field the questions, which is kind of annoying. Like there should be more equal opportunity, but you know what, ultimately I agree with you. Like I think that it comes down to when people are there to see someone perform in a various way, that should be respected, even if what you're watching is bullshit and disagree with it.
Yeah, I'd have to disagree with you on the first point. You said it would be more acceptable for a speech than for a performance.
I think it's
the way I see it. If you're interrupting a speech, you actually are trying to cut off their fucking speech. If you're cutting off a performance,
I get what you were saying.
You're just interrupting a fucking performance.
I get what
but the thing is that a performance is something that the audience is going to be absorbed in. And I'm not saying that you can't be absorbed in a political speech, but you're really kind of like when you're doing that at a play, it's sort of like fucking with the fourth wall and kind of and you're like robbing the whole thing of. Oh yeah,
you're still a complete asshole.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with Vadim on this one.
Yeah,
and plus it's like, if you're interrupting a speech, like that dude can just go back 2 sentences. If you're interrupting a performance, like these people have the lines memorized and they're in the character and they're doing their shit, and then this fucking chubby bitch Laura Loomer comes running on stage like or whatever she did.
I once I used to perform at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater a lot, and our director like briefly dated this crazy bitch. And it was, and we were improvising, and she walked on stage drunk off her ass, crying, and just like, why did you break up with me? Actually, that was pretty hilarious. I have to say,
it's fucking terrifying.
It was a little kind of like. I don't know, single white female-ish, or there's probably a better example, like, no, what is it? The Glenn Close movie, the Fatal Attraction-ish, but man, it was pretty hilarious in the moment. If only all stage interruptions went like that. Anyhow, so yeah, I'm still like curious though, like, are there specific examples besides the Devin Tracy thing where you guys have thought like I was being unreasonable, I was kind of like siding with a particular side just because I was being tribalistic?
I mean, I didn't invite you, but I don't think we invited you to interrogate you personally.
I hope you don't misunderstand why you were invited on here.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't to accuse you of tribalism. It was to discuss what we're seeing more and more of every day.
Sure, yeah, and I mean, I hope I'm not sounding like confrontational when I ask that. I guess I just ask it because I don't know. We all have blind spots. And Sinatra said that we had kind of quarreled a little bit on Twitter, and so I thought maybe there was some sort of like example. But earlier we were talking about Tim Blake, who you said that you wanted to bring into this.
Yeah, originally I was gonna invite. Well, actually, I did invite Tim. I got no response from him. Tim and I are on good terms. We talk sometimes, and he seems like he's, especially today, he's been tweeting about it. Or at the point that I messaged him, he'd been tweeting about it for the past couple hours. About the sides and the tribalism, and I think it was mainly tied to the
Mouthy Buddha video.
Mouthy Buddha shit.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that I think that Tim is actually a good example of someone who is always willing to call out his side, if you will. Like, for instance, recently, are you guys familiar with Dick Coughlin?
Vaguely. I've seen the name a lot recently. I don't know anything about him.
Well, he's a like rather left-wing comedian. He's been around for like a long time, like since like 2008 or so, and I happen to think the guy is really funny. I like the guy, but he made like a few raunchy like rape joke comments that and it's not like making rape jokes in themselves are bad, but he just kind of like, basically there were people who objected to them on decent grounds, and he was just like, fuck you, I'm gonna say what I want. And I don't know, you should watch his video on it. He had a pretty like good response to kind of like why he was being an ass. And I think he's called out other people too. He's called out Christy Winters for one or two things, not on anything that big, but he's basically
I know Tim's called out a few people, and he is one of the ones who seems to have his ideology and will disagree with people who come against his personal thing.
Yeah.
But I definitely think there's a couple people in that group who are willing to go through mental gymnastics just to stick up for their friends.
Yeah, Woolly Bumblebee.
Woolly Bumblebee and Kevin.
Danny Corks.
No, the one that's just springs to mind is David.
David.
Oh,
Skin.
Bino.
What specific examples would you give of him doing that?
Just everything that's happened with him and V. I don't know if I can give you a specific example.
Right.
Because I don't follow him that much, but I observe him on Twitter and I watch him, and it seems like he doesn't have a set ideology. He's willing to change it to just whatever is the most progressive thing he can possibly think of. Like him and I went back and forth last night on Twitter for a couple tweets, and he was saying that believing that there are IQ differences amongst populations is the same thing as believing the Holocaust didn't happen. And I'm like, dude, that's just disingenuous. That's not true.
I'd have to see the actual tweets in order to like really kind of comment on it. I usually know him to be a pretty like, even though that he doesn't have the reputation of this amongst a lot of people who are fans of V, I actually think he's pretty reasonable. He does get emotional, and
okay, I should have used that word. I'm sorry. I should have used emotional.
Yeah.
Maybe not mental gymnastics, but he seems very disingenuous in the way he argues.
Well, there is an element, and I can definitely kind of sympathize with him. I'm kind of the same way to a certain extent. There's an element sometimes it comes out of trolling, trollishness with him, and so I don't know if it's that, if it's like every now and then, but a lot of people do that, just kind of like when you're in the midst of a serious discussion, then somebody will kind of just go into joke mode, and you can't really like get a real point out because the person just won't take you seriously. Maybe every now and then he does something like that, but I just have to see more to kind of like comment on it.
I'm looking for the tweet right now.
Yeah.
Maybe he deleted it. Hold on. But yeah, it was something like race realism. Fuck, let me find it.
See, the thing is that, I mean, I don't know if this is what he was getting at, but there often race realism is kind of a mask that people use in order to kind of, I don't know, kind of red pill people, if you will, and they'll use a lot of like incorrect statistics, and they are underneath their like kind of phony appeals to like science, just really trying to get people to like, you know, just kind of join their alt-right bullshit. I'm not saying that everyone who discusses those things is doing that. I'm just saying from time to time. You got it?
Race realism is legit. Too many Jews in power. Holocaust numbers are overblown. White genocide is real. Quote, classical liberal, unquote. And that just seems disingenuous. And
right.
It's
a joke, though. That's
going on a diatribe of stop attributing these things to these people. Stop trying to say these people are bad because they hold this opinion.
Can you read it one more time?
Race realism is legit. Too many Jews are in power. Green text style. Too many Jews are in power. Holocaust numbers are overblown. Genocide is real. Classical liberal.
So that was today, right?
Last night.
Last night. Okay. Well, last night I think was around the time that we really started talking about those Mouthy Buddha videos, and it's probably mostly in relation to that. That does sound like somewhat of a hyperbolic joke. And there are people who kind of tout themselves as classical liberals who kind of do say things to that degree. Like someone like Stephen Molyneux says he doesn't, to my knowledge, he's never done any, I'm fairly certain he's never done any Holocaust denial. But I think the other stuff, definitely like the race realism stuff, he's paid lip service to. And I don't know. You're right. I would never say that is like the way that all classical liberals are. But again, I think he's being kind of hyperbolic, and also Mouthy Buddha, you know, who I think this again was in response to. He made a video last year called like the top 5 classical liberals of 2016. And David Rubin and I think Gad Saad and a few others were in there. So, you know, they're definitely not the type of people that he's talking about there, but they're not classical liberals. Anyway, anybody else got anything to say about that?
Yeah, I was wondering if we could hear Peach's opinion on anything whatsoever. Peach,
Well,
what do you think about stuff?
There have been a few times that I wanted to jump in with different things, like one of the things that I wanted to say way back in the beginning.
From this point on, and Vadim, it's nothing against you, but I am instituting an it's fine to interrupt Vadim policy.
All right, I'm cool with that.
I wanted to let him finish his point. Because my thing was kind of on a tangent to what he was talking about, but it was more like it reminded me of something that I wanted to say earlier, which was that you know, personally, I'm on the left. I'm not like super left. I'm more to the center. But
radical
centrism. I criticize the left. Yeah, radical centrism. I'm the elite. Yeah, I criticize the left a lot more than I criticize the right. I think because I'm like more. I expect the left, you know, to hold up my ideals in a better way. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like because I feel closer to the left, I criticize it.
Sure.
Whereas the right, it's like I'm so distant from it. I'm not entirely familiar with all of their concepts, and I don't feel as comfortable to criticize it. So I feel like there's a lot of skeptics TM that aren't really on the right, but we always get lumped in with the right because we attack the left. And I feel like that's part of the problem with this tribalism, is that I can't criticize something without those people thinking that I'm on the opposite camp. It's like, no, dude, I think you're doing a shitty thing.
It's kind of funny. Like you've seen, I'm sure you've seen Very Nearly Viral, right, Peach?
Yeah,
Roy and Lee. Yeah. they've been accused of being SJWs because they've spoken and agreed with people in the wrong camp.
Well, I was working.
I agree with people, and I talk to people on every like part of the political spectrum. I've got friends on pretty much every part of the political spectrum as well, and I don't mind
that's
talking.
because you're an SJW piece of shit, Peach.
Yeah, no, it's because I'm a centrist.
I've had plenty of people.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say I've had plenty of people tell me that I'm a conservative because I have some views that are very conservative, and also I've been on these streams and whatnot, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty much more of a liberal. I'm just I just have some views that are conservative. I think that makes me more centrist than anything else. So
I think a lot of people that we interact with, Samaj, are more to the right, so it kind of makes us seem like we'd be conservatives. I'd probably be more to the left as well, except on certain points.
Well, I think that there's like something to be said about most people being of a centrist variety. I think that there's nothing wrong with having predominant views of one direction, but still having views in the other. I think that's just sort of a normal for society and for the average person. But nowadays things become so politicized and jazzed up, if you will, that pretty much everyone has to identify as one or the other.
Yeah, that's what's really sad is that, like, you know, if you ask anybody on the street, you know, about their political views, most people I think would probably come out somewhere around the middle. Like, it's just that the polarized sides, and I don't want to call them extremists because obviously they're not all extremists, but like the people off to the more, you know, the more extreme sides or the louder voices are the ones that get all the attention. And the sad thing is, like, just for talking to those people, we can get lumped in with them, and I feel like that's shit.
No, it's a point I made earlier.
Like one of the
not all of the other side, quote unquote, is the atheist gamer, and not all of our side, quote unquote, is no bullshit.
You know, when it comes to centrism, I feel like to a certain degree people have what I think is a skewed sense of what centrism is, because I mean, guys, I want to throw it out there. I've never been a Hillary fan, but she was very centrist, and a lot of people who opposed her kind of talked about her as though she was like a fucking, you know, like Maoist commie. Same thing with Obama.
Obama did get a lot of that.
You know, and Obama was very much a centrist as well. So I don't know, like politically, it's a little weird sometimes when people. Yeah.
If you want to say that Obama and Hillary are basically the same person. So if you want to say that Obama was a centrist, that means your idea of where the left and the right is a little bit askewed, because there was a lot of ways Obama was a centrist. I could see the argument being made that Bill Clinton was more of a centrist. I could even see the argument being made that Donald Trump has some centrist tendencies, but not with Obama.
Fuck off.
Obama
and Hillary did nothing but pay lip service to their absolute base and nobody else.
Absolutely not. There were so many concessions.
Before you respond to that, how the fuck can you call Donald Trump a centrist?
He's working with Democrats on almost everything he does now because nobody else will work with him.
Well, also,
when it's not a choice, that's not.
But it's gonna get changed
because you have to.
I think
that's not.
Do you really honestly think Trump believes that all this stuff about like abortion and weed?
Of course not.
So he's gonna end up ruling. He's gonna end up ruling as a centrist Democrat more than anything.
I totally think you're incorrect, because the thing is that some of the only people that are going to be willing to vote for him next time around are going to be his like evangelical base, and he's thrown a lot of bones their way. I mean,
I don't know how the fuck he got them.
Yeah, it's really just because those people are so fucking stupid. They'll just vote for whoever whoever their guy is. I'm talking like
Cruz.
What?
Their guy should have been Ted Cruz.
I agree with you on that. I mean, not that that would have been much better, but I agree that their interests would have been legitimately yeah, they would have had somebody who honestly believes their bullshit.
I would have much preferred a Cruz presidency than a Trump presidency.
To be quite honest, I would have preferred a fucking Democrat presidency. You guys just didn't pick.
Yeah, well, we didn't pick.
Deserved it.
Apparently, we weren't allowed to pick anything. They just decided that it was Hillary that was going to run.
Well, I mean, there was always the rumors going around that Hillary, cheated and blackmailed in her way to get the nomination. No one actually believed she was. I figured
Trump was a better choice than Hillary.
Oh, fuck right.
Much better names in the fucking race than Trump.
Oh my god. Well, that's the thing, is Trump was a lively, moving, talking head against 16 other cardboard cutouts.
Exactly. You had nobody else with any. The closest you had.
Cruz called out Marco,
was fucking Jeb Bush.
Cruz called out Marco Rubio for just only using talking points, and then Marco Rubio went on to use the same talking points twice. They were just nobodies up on that stage. And I can't even remember the Democrat who ran against Hillary and Bernie.
Yeah, I think that not Ron Paul, but Rand Paul would. I mean, not that I'm a huge fan of that guy, but that guy would have been a way better choice than any of the others involved. On the Republican side.
Wait, Ron Paul's the one who went crazy, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about Rand Paul, his son, R-A-N-D.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying. I was thinking if it was Ron Paul that went it was him, right? Who started going crazy about gold and shit.
There's always been kind of a contingency of his base that is, I mean, a lot of them are 9/11 truthers, and he also has a very racist side to his base. Some people have said that he has those sympathies, but yeah, so yeah, that's probably what you're thinking of.
Yeah, I think that's it. Sorry, I was.
But yeah, I mean, and his son kind of, to a certain degree, mimics some of the crazy shit as well. But because you get a lot of that with the libertarian base. I don't know how much you've looked into it, but still, that being said, he has, to me, seems to have more integrity. Again, low bar. There, it's not a very high bar in terms of that, in that whole really in Republicans and Democrats. I'm not going to lie.
I hate the fact that we're stuck in this low bar thing, or the lesser of two evils.
The fact that we've somehow gotten back to politics.
Okay. I'll stop talking about politics.
Sure. Well, I think there is a basis behind.
Maybe me and Vadim will just do a stream.
There is definitely a good connection.
Well, I think in our culture today, the biggest in-group, out-group is the left, quote, and the right, unquote. Those are the biggest in-group, out-group. They're the most encompassing because they house about half of the country.
Well, certainly, and it's definitely one of the big areas where tribalism comes in. But I mean, I can tell you're boring the fuck out of Peach. Remember, she's Australian. She's on the other side of the world from this shit.
Well, did you want to talk more about the climate on YouTube then, about in-group?
Yeah, that's more what I was.
Hell yeah! Let me go smoke a cigarette before we get into that shit, though. I'll be right back.
There we go. Right.
I'll let you guys. Me and Vadim will stop polluting the airwaves.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Stop wearing our important.
How do we relate this to the cool kids? Rice Gum versus iDubbbz. Go.
Oh, with Rice Gum versus iDubbbz, there's no tribalism there. There was just a clear winner.
Well, actually, I think one way to relate it to people like that is with Keemstar, who I think in a lot of ways that dude is sort of a tool. But
in a lot, I'd say in most ways.
Yeah, and in nearly every way possible. However, I don't know if you guys kept up with this. There was this a few weeks of hate towards that guy, and people like grade A, under A, and Leafy is here made videos against him and made him look like the biggest douchebag on the face of the earth, which he is kind of douchey. But, you know, so many people fucking hated him. He lost like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Then he made this video which I watched, and he really took on all of these claims. And if you watch it, it's pretty interesting because he really does offer all of this evidence that dismisses 90% of the bullshit that was said about him. And so I think he's a good example of someone who was like briefly way on the out group kind of end of things, and then kind of did a rebound by kind of sticking up for himself. But yeah, I look, I'm sorry, I keep on fucking talking, but I just want to say one thing real quickly, is that I think, you know, people in general are kind of lemmings, and they just will kind of gravitate towards what the most popular person that they like is saying. It's nice when people kind of aren't like that, but I think a great deal of people out there are like that. So it's hard to kind of fight that.
And obviously there's far too much of that in this quote unquote community. And I mean, when I say community, I include, you know, you and your friends, right?
Sure.
Both sides of the fucking coin, right? There's too much of that on both sides, but you're talking more about just the average viewer, shit like that. What do you think about the whole mouthy? I guess I should just come out and ask the fucking question. What's your opinion on Jeff Holiday with the whole mouthy, and Bunty, I guess, with the mouthy Buddha thing?
Okay. Bunty is someone who I think comes across like a really pleasant, funny, fun guy. Probably be like super fun to hang out with. I do think that the guy has, on several occasions, kind of like I believe he's retweeted people like Tara McCarthy. I don't know if you know who she is, but that woman is like,
she's one of the race realists, right?
Yeah, she's super racist. And like, maybe I hope no one is like thinking like, he's a little SJW-ish. Maybe he's like just, you know, calling everyone racist. No, this
no.
pretty fucking racist.
Sarah McCarthy, if she's the one I'm thinking of, she's flat out a racist.
Yeah, she's like likened black people to like animals a lot.
She's just a shitty person.
Yeah. And so I think that Bunty really, like, he meets some of these people, not her specifically.
What type of shit has he retweeted from her? Or was it shit about race realism?
No. Well, it's been about like probably I don't recall exactly, but I want to say that it's like tweets where she was mocking the left for calling everybody racist. And, you know, and he sees this and don't get me wrong, you know, there maybe are more people on the left that kind of, you know, there's like kind of like a cry wolf kind of a thing where sometimes
you have to look at the fact too that again, you don't have the exact statement. I don't know what she said that he retweeted, but just because the statement might not be valid for her doesn't make it not a valid statement, right?
Yeah, but I'm kind of the I mean, like people have different philosophies on this. Unless you're retweeting something to like legitimately mock someone who aligns themselves with thoughts like that, like even if they're saying something really great, in few instances do I think it's wise to actually tweet people like that, you know, like because it raises their profile.
I agree with you there. Like if David Duke were to say something great, I'd probably still respond to him with "Shut the fuck up, you ran the KKK." Yeah, there you go.
But
at the same time, I can see how someone might retweet it just on the basis of the statement, disregarding who said it.
In Bunty's case, I get the impression that when he retweets certain people or kind of promotes certain people, he's not really aware of kind of some of the things that I'm talking about. Now with Jeff, I can't really like say per se like there's a certain amount of respect that I have for Jeff. We used to kind of get along pretty well. Lately, things have been a little more contentious between us. But I think that I think he legitimately thinks that with the Mouthy Buddha video, that Mouthy Buddha made a video that where he was being responsible with how he was approaching the topic, and I
watch this video. I need.
Yeah.
Now, from what I've seen of Mouthy Buddha, I only heard of him today, but I've looked into a couple of videos. I don't think he's a fucking Nazi sympathizer.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying that it was a shit video. It was a shit video.
And the claim that
is it a long video? Could I watch it?
Sides were bullshit.
It's too. I mean, maybe he's making a third video. I mean, like basically,
apparently it's about Jews and porn. I don't think. I do believe that he made this video not with the intention of saying this is what I believe. Just
okay. This is the context for everything.
But the claim that he presented both sides is bullshit.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. I am totally willing to, and a lot of my friends disagree with me here. I'm willing to believe that maybe he's not, an anti-Semite, but he presents these two sides of the arguments, and he does not. Did somebody just make farting noises, or
did someone just actually fart?
Sinatra, he's a large man.
Okay.
I didn't do anything. I was playing on my phone.
All right. Okay.
It might have been me. My chair is awfully crickety.
So what was wrong with the video, in my opinion, is that he was trying to kind of present both of these sides, trying to like supposedly be fair to both. And in the process, he created something that if you look in the comments of the video, there are tons of people who are like, actual anti-Semites who are like, this is an awesome video. I'm going to use this to help red pill my friends. Thanks.
And that was one point that you made that I kind of disagreed with. Like, your whole point was, Jeff, or from how I read it, your whole point was, Jeff, how can he not be an anti-Semite? Look at these comments.
No, I didn't say
that's a slippery slope.
No, but I didn't say how can he not be an anti-Semite. I said that the video was helping promote anti-Semitic ideas, and I think that that's undebatable when you have tons of people in the video who have those sympathies, saying that they think it's awesome, that it finally someone's showing our side, things like that. I think that you're under an obligation when you make videos of this sort to not mince your words and really come out and say, this side is fucking wrong, okay? Like, here we go, like here's this side, here's that side, but this side is totally fucking wrong. And he didn't do that. He kind of like very much left it to the person's imagination. And on top of that, he threw out all of these like bullshit ideas and did not refute them. So to me, it was extremely irresponsible.
I think
don't feel like you're under any obligation to refute the ideals, as long as you do present both sides, which he didn't.
I feel like, just from what I can tell that you guys are saying, saying Mouthy Buddha and Jeff might be anti-Semites or anti-Semite.
I don't think Jeff. There's no. Let me say that there's no doubt in my mind that I do not think Jeff is at all an anti-Semite.
Okay, so it's just Mouthy Buddha then.
No, even Mouthy Buddha. Like I said, I don't think he's an anti-Semite.
Well, let me say my point.
That he presented both sides in the videos. In the videos there were two.
I think it's possible that he is, but I'm not saying. But I'd be willing to believe that he's not.
My dudes. Can we please let Sinatra say his bit?
I'm just gonna kill myself.
One second. Let me clarify for Sinatra. I do think
if you can get this point out before I can get my gun, I won't kill myself.
I'll let you speak if you promise to kill yourself live.
Okay. I
Please
think
don't do that.
I think saying that just because anti-Semites agree with him, I think that's a slippery slope into the article I put on Twitter the other day, where people are saying that Cuphead, the game, is white nationalist because it's old and the old times were racist. I think that's a very slippery slope into that same argument. Just because a certain group of people do this thing, that means the person who might agree with them on this one issue also does that thing.
These are such incredibly different examples that you're giving here. I mean,
well, okay, let me try this better.
Did you watch
racist because racists support him?
Did you watch Mouthy Buddha's video?
No, I literally just learned that was the content of this argument.
Mouthy Buddha's video, it presented the whole argument that Hitler was not a bad guy and all that shit. And I do feel like he was presenting that just to show what these people think. I don't think it was his beliefs.
I was talking, it's so weird. I was talking about not that Hitler was a bad guy the other day, but I was talking about Hitler the other day in the context of that the way he saw everything that he did was a form of cleansing.
Yeah, that was a stream with me. I remember that.
Oh, yeah, it was you. So saying that it's not bad that he did this because he thought he was cleaning the world of Jews and gypsies, no, that's still bad.
Yeah, it's still a bad thing.
But trying to... I lost my train of thought.
He was trying to... The way I view it, he was trying to give people an understanding of how these people think. He wasn't acknowledging those views as valid. He was presenting them as they are.
I think that if you're going to attempt to be a journalist and kind of show both sides of an argument, it's if people who walk away strongly believing the absolute opposite of what you believe to be the truth, if that happens, you've done it wrong. You've done it very, very wrong. there's no other way to put it. Like if I were to make a video on like evolution, and I presented both sides of the argument, and like young Earth creationists were like, yeah, thanks, Vadim. I'm going to send this to my friends to show them that evolution is bullshit. I'd be like, oh my god, I fucked up here. So
yeah, and I feel like he did present it. His video was well put together, poorly made.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's a fucking Nazi. Again, I just heard of the guy today, but from the other shit I've looked through on his channel, he doesn't seem like this is the shit he believes. I could be wrong. He could be a piece of shit.
I know that he
feel like that right now.
I know that he has a video where he follows a friend of his that is alt-right, trying to kind of like understand him. So he's willing to be friends with people who are alt-right. However, I do think that to be fair to him, I think that was a friend of his who he befriended him before the guy turned alt-right. So you can make an argument there that like maybe
type thing.
But to me, I don't know. I don't think I could be friends with somebody who was alt-right. If they're, because I think of alt-right as being someone who wants to implement a white ethno-state. So when somebody believes that, I'm just like, fuck y'all. Okay, not really interested in this friendship.
I completely understand the whole idea that some beliefs exclude you from being my friend.
Peach is angry.
Oh, what's up, Peach?
She said my thumbs are getting twiddled to all fuck.
Yeah, I'm just exercising my thumbs. What?
Peach is angry. We're letting her out.
I don't get angry that easily. Don't worry. This is not a voice of anger.
Okay, cunts. From now on, the rest of the stream, fuck.
We'll just let Peach read us dirty things.
No, I'm just listening to the riveting discussion and twiddling my thumbs. What?
Everyone put dirty shit in the chat you want Peach to read.
Exactly.
No, let's
now
not do
on,
that
we are getting Peach to read dirty shit. From now on, I'm gonna rename this stream. It's gonna be Dirty Shit with the Peach Balie.
Can you present Peach
Don't do
real
that,
quick?
please. I can be serious. I'm doing serious discussions.
Schmeckle, can you present Peach?
I will present Peach.
Thank you.
Why are you presenting me for?
I have no clue.
From I don't know. Maybe we should, for the rest of the stream we should just call it Peach's.
Fuck's sake, you guys.
I don't know what's the sexy thing? Oh yeah, splashed bean. The splashed bean. There we go.
He makes me feel squishy. He makes me feel wet. He makes me feel like a little pet.
Just one more time for the people in the back.
One cummy, 2 cummies, 3 cummies, 4.
Oh.
I'm Sinatra's princess, but I'm also a whore.
I like to remind everyone that it's brought to you by Tenga Eggs.
So, guys, I have a question. I'll just ask it, and then everyone can answer. Has everyone seen the footage from MythCon of both Sargon and Tom talking about the rape comment?
No, it's on my one of my Google Chrome tabs to watch.
Yeah, I know Samaj brought it up earlier. You've seen it.
I've seen it. I don't know about the. Oh, are you talking about the?
Yeah, I wouldn't even rape you.
I wouldn't even rape you. Yeah, he was harping on that hard.
Well, see, I think that's a good example of people being tribalistic because, in my opinion, what fucking I agree it was harped on maybe too much, but that was kind of like a really fucked up, shitty thing for Sargon to say. And everybody was just like, woo, yeah, I won't even rape you. I'll clap for that.
Well,
and
see, I've only actually just learned the context of the comment. I hadn't realized before that it was a rape victim that he was making this comment.
Well, it was a politician, and she was trying to use that as a leverage to police the internet and make it far more restrictive than it currently is.
That's not true. That is not. I'll explain later. I want more people to talk, but I want a chance to refute that later.
I was just gonna say, like, I understood that. I hadn't realized that she had actually been raped before. That kind of that's some added context.
Is it real rape? I'm just kidding.
But what were you gonna say, Vadim?
Vadim, new quest in the giant peach.
Well, I was gonna say that if you actually like look, because that's one thing that people say for some reason they think that makes it acceptable. But if you look at the initiative that she had, it like the idea that she was trying to control the internet. I mean, it was.
You can stop presenting Peach now, by the way.
Here, I'm actually going to. You guys talk. I'm gonna get the find the actual website and read from the website and to explain like why I don't think that's like that statement holds water. But hold on. Talk amongst yourselves.
He was actually supposed to be doing like I know it was something about internet control. I know very little of the story beyond.
Wait, Schmeckle.
What?
You can stop presenting Peach now.
Oh, I thought we were presenting her for a reason.
No, didn't you hear me play the thing?
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, I'll play it again then.
Oh, here, I'll present her again then.
I thought everyone was.
You guys don't need to do that. It's quite alright. I heard it.
Yeah, don't worry,
Okay,
Peach. It's happening again.
3 cummies, 4.
Oh.
I'm Sinatra's princess, but I'm also a whore. He makes me feel squishy. He makes me feel wet. He makes me feel like a little pet. Why?
Peach Balie is my something confirmed.
Well, now, if any of you in the chat can do better than that, I guarantee you, Peach will read it.
Yeah. Only if you PayPal me, Peach will read it.
Oh, fuck you, Sinatra. We're on a Schmeckle stream.
All right, fine. Only if you can PayPal me and Schmeckle, Peach will read it.
Fair enough.
Oh, you got Bane in the chat? Hello, Bane.
Yeah, Bane shows up sometimes. He never joins the fucking stream, but sometimes he watches.
And he won't follow me on Twitter either, cunt.
Insanity Rises said, even if she was a sexual assault victim or rape victim, what's wrong with saying I wouldn't even rape you? I wouldn't rape any women. I wouldn't even rape Peach. Why would you say that?
No,
I'm a sexual. I'm a rape victim.
I think it was actually it was
Good night,
someone
Adamantine.
non-SJW who pointed it out. The thing with the even, like the even in there makes it. It's supposed to say.
It's supposed to be an insult on how fugly she is.
Yeah, but the way they're taking it is the even is I wouldn't even rape you, like as in the best thing I'd do.
I would rape the fuck out of you.
I mean, put it in another context. Put it in another context. Let's say that
doesn't hold a whole lot of weight, though.
Let's say that you had a child and the child was murdered, or let's say you have 3 kids and one of them was murdered, and then you tweeted, I wouldn't even murder your kids. I mean, it's like
child rape, rape and child murder, or not. It's not even rape. Sexual assault and child murder are not the same thing.
But they're 2 really horrible things.
Something to somebody who's actually had something traumatic happen to them, that evokes the trauma on purpose. That's a shitty thing to do.
So,
it's not the worst thing in the world. There are many worse things, but it's objectively a shitty thing to do.
Oh, it's objectively a shitty thing to do. And don't get me wrong, like if he ever legitimately said you know what, that was kind of fucked up of me. If there was any sort of real owning how bad it was, I personally would be able to just move on. But I want to read you guys real quick. This is her website. This is what she says the point of her of the campaign is. It says this website sets out the challenge and asks for new ideas and action in 5 different areas. 1, the role of police and prosecutors and where threats and harassment becomes crimes. 2, the responsibility of social media and publishing platforms. 3, the role of organizations and employers. 4, the role for individuals, including support victims and taking on the trolls. I mean, I'm just not seeing
what does taking on the trolls mean, though?
Yeah, that's very suspicious.
I'm not even saying that maybe there's not a little bit here that is questionable, but the idea that people talk about her she was going to completely enslave the internet and take away free speech. It doesn't. I mean, that's kind of what you'd have to kind of believe in order to make it okay for him to say that.
Well,
let's just be 100% honest. Any form of censorship on the internet will never work. It'll never happen. It'll never work.
Well, I just want to say that there are a bunch of laws that are kind of, let's say, draconian or maybe even a little backwards and kind of silly. And a lot of these laws get passed with flowery language. This is very flowery language by the sounds of things, which was why I'm a bit concerned when she used the term trolls. And she listed things like social media and other such things. What exactly do you mean? What exactly does she mean when she says she wants to, implement something or other in social media and all that? That I am actually very concerned about that, because what's the extent? It's very vague, and it shouldn't be, especially if you're an MP. It should be a lot more clear than this.
Well, there's more specificity on her site. I just don't think that there's anything there that makes his rationale credible. This whole I did it because she was trying to be too controlling of the internet, especially since Sargon himself has done some things that are sort of censorious in themselves.
Can I actually interrupt here? Peach is making some points in the chat that would be
she
much
just needs
better,
to fucking say
much more effective vocalized. Peach.
Oh well, you guys I thought you'd moved on from that point.
Men are talking, Peach. Sit down.
Fucking
I know my place.
Speak up. If people are talking and you have something to say, speak louder. I want to hear more from you than any of them.
Why the chat's the only ones that care what I have to say.
You are the Peach Balie.
Okay, so you say You said I'm not going to get all fucking triggered for years about it. Is that kind of the gist of
wait,
what?
real quick. Amy in the chat looks pretty hot. She should follow me on Twitter. Go ahead.
Amy's really hot.
I'm telling Shelly.
I was just saying in the chat that, you know, anybody can get offended about anything. You could sit here and make, you know, rape jokes or dead mum jokes or anything else. Pick something that I've been through and make jokes about it. Like I was raped twice by 2 different people. You can make jokes about that. I mean, you could say I wouldn't even rape Peach. I don't give a fuck, because my process is like, you know, I kind of got over it. Like I moved on, and it's not conducive to my healing or anybody else's healing to keep bringing that back up and getting triggered every time somebody says the word rape. Like,
no,
I don't understand. I don't understand the fucking.
I agree with you, and I make
Vadim. Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt, because if you start, I'm not gonna get a chance.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
I'm just gonna try to get Amy to follow me, so you guys have fun.
I understand how you feel there, but I feel like it's basically the same thing as going up to someone and going, "Haha, your dad's dead." You know,
yeah.
No matter what time it is, no matter. Exactly,
they're a cunt for doing that,
no matter
like what. Exactly. That I'm not saying it's not a shitty thing to do. I'm just saying that it's
not the worst fucking thing in the world.
It's up to you if you're going to actually let that hurt you.
Yeah, but it's also I think the biggest problem that a lot of people have is just the fact that Sargon just relentlessly defends it, and so do his fans. And it's sort of like, yeah, I don't think it's the absolute worst thing in the world, but it's just like, hey, why can't you just admit that that was fucking fucked up and shitty?
But
you know?
Okay, so Bane in the chat's making a point, and I don't know about this. So if Bane wanted to come on the stream,
I sent him a link via Twitter. Check your Twitter, Bane. Yeah, I want you to come in.
I'm sure you're not gonna show, but you got a fucking link. You fucking Australian.
He says she made fun of male rape victims. She got hate directed towards her on Twitter. She claimed the hate was only because she's a woman.
She did not make fun of male rape victims. She did not do that. I'm going to try and find the truth of that. That's a claim that people make, and it's not true.
If it's the same MP that I'm thinking of, which it probably might be, I wouldn't be surprised why people would think that. But there again, I mean, I've seen a lot of MPs say some things that are questionable. So
he says it's the middle of the day.
The other thing is, like, why do people give
the middle of the day for Peach too, cunt?
The other thing is, like, I just don't understand why people take shit on Twitter seriously. Like, it's 98% shit posting on there. Like, I mean, people are going to be dicks. Just let it go. I don't understand why this is still an issue, like, a year after he said it on fucking Twitter, of all things.
Yeah, I feel like
because again, it's about, like, just owning it and kind of owning up to how shitty it is. So when he's asked about it live, and people, like, cheer it on like it was an awesome thing to say, I think at the very least this is what we're talking about, like, being, like, kind of blindly tribalistic and backing people up no matter how fucking stupid what they're saying.
I'm not going to back him up. I don't care about Sargon one way or the other. You know, I watch some of his content. I don't care that much about him, right? I'm not going to defend him.
Your secret go on, Pete.
Amy is very hot.
But if you're gonna, and I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying the people using these arguments of, like, oh, why won't you just apologize for it? It was such a shitty thing to do. You know, their thing is that you brought up her rape, and that was traumatic for her. Okay, you guys are bringing this up in a fucking convention a year later. Every time you mention it to drag Sargon through the mud for what he said, aren't you also bringing up her trauma as well? Would everybody just fucking drop it? Like,
no, because because it's a legitimate reason why he, along with other things, why he. I mean, like, the whole conversation was kind of around his controversy, and he actually started out the way that he explained it, or that he brought it up was like, you know, do you understand why there are some people who didn't want you here? And that is, honestly, I think, a legitimate reason to not want someone at a function like that. You know, I mean,
for a tweet they sent a year ago.
Yeah, if it's that fucking vile and they've done nothing but defend it.
Is that vile though?
Yeah.
Is that vile?
Yeah.
I mean, compared to some of the stuff people say, is saying that you wouldn't rape somebody that vile?
I think
What about-
I
what
think
about-
it's pretty vile knowing the history, yes.
What about Madonna saying she wants to put a bomb in the White House? Is that vile?
That's pretty horrible. I think that
What about Linda Sarsour saying that a jihad is the right way to get rid of Trump? Is that vile? These are all people that are put up on a pedestal by the same group of people who you are saying should condemn.
Oh no. I don't know anyone literally who, I mean, I've talked about Linda Sarsour with a great deal of people who I think you'd dislike, and there isn't a person among them that respects that woman, that thinks that she's like awesome. So that
I don't mean on an individual level. I mean as a group. I don't know anybody on an individual level who respects Linda, but there are a ton of fucking people who do respect her.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the same. This goes back to the argument we made earlier. That's the same group of people who respect her are the same ones saying Sargon shouldn't do this. Just like you said, it's anti-Semites supporting Mouthy Buddha.
No,
Mouthy Buddha might be.
There are a lot of people, like for instance, that guy Tom, who was the one interviewing Sargon of Akkad. He did an entire podcast criticizing Linda Sarsour and basically talking about, for the most part, I mean, like maybe there were like, you know, because he's like trying to be thorough. Maybe there were a couple things that he like brought up that were like, okay, this aspect of her is a little bit redeeming, but overall he was like, this woman sucks and it's too bad. I will agree with you though. Yes, there are people on the left, like she was part of that women's march. That's a travesty. That's fucking stupid. And
so was the science march too.
Yeah, I didn't know much about the science march.
It was pretty much just another anti-Trump march.
Okay. But yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought, but
I just straight interrupted Peach.
Something's been brought up in the chat, Vadim. I was can I ask you something not related to the topic here?
Yeah.
There's been mention of an Applebee's story multiple times. TJ was mentioning it on Twitter a couple days ago. They're mentioning it in the chat now. What the fuck is this Applebee's story?
Well, okay. I was at an Applebee's a few months ago, and basically there were these drunk girls who were kind of like trailer trash who started, this is about like towards 2 o'clock in the morning, close to closing time. And they were, and it was also outside in like the kind of patio area. The reason why I mentioned that is because when I told the story on Drunken Peasants, a lot of people didn't believe it. And they thought like all this was going on in the middle of the restaurant in front of lots of people. No, there were barely anyone there, and it was outside. And basically these girls, there were maybe like 3 or 4 other people there. They were making out, groping each other. One point, one girl sucked one of the other girl's titties. At another point, one of the girls was like literally finger banging another one of the girls. And I told this story on Drunken Peasants at about 5 o'clock in the morning when I was drunk as hell, and it just didn't get, like somehow something about it. They did not believe me, and so it's become kind of like,
definitely sounds like something you'd see at an Applebee's.
They just wanted video evidence.
It does sound like a fairly regular Applebee's story.
Yeah,
wanted video evidence. Yeah,
it's a fucking place with a bar and slutty chicks.
Well, the funny thing is that the funny thing is that I've gone back there several times and seen those girls, And the thought has occurred to me, like, you know, I'd like to talk with these girls again and get them to, like, you know, verify
You should
the
just
story.
get them drunk and see if they do it again.
but this is the thing. Like, if like, I kind of can't get them to verify the story, because the thing is that, like, if I tell them about it, they might be like, oh, I want to hear that, and then they'll listen to it and they'll hear me calling them fat trailer trash redneck bitches. And
I'm sure.
You just can never go back to that Applebee's. You'll have to go to the one that's 10 minutes away.
The story I saw on Twitter involved being invited to an orgy.
Yes. Well, no. See, they were they started talking about having an orgy, and I was hoping to kind of be a part of it, or at least, you know, kind of hook up with one of them. I don't think I actually would have wanted to be.
Called them fat trailer trash. Why did you want to hook up with these kids?
Dude, he's at Applebee's. He's down for some trailer trash.
Two of them were sort of cute. Like one of them sort of looked a little bit like, oh man, I'm trying to remember the name of the porn star. She's like super tall. Like, I'm not going to remember her name because I'm just not good with names. But a couple of them were decently attractive. Two of them were not. I would not, you know, honestly, like, I did not end up hooking up with any of them. They left with like one dude, and then when I talked with them about like 2 weeks later about it, they said that when they got there, they all just basically like threw up and you know, because they were drunk as hell and passed out. So there was no orgy that actually occurred. And this is something that has, you know, just been in CC's comment section quite a bit. People tweet me about it a lot. So, yeah, it's kind of followed me around.
See, I believed it up until the orgy part. I mean, seeing drunk chicks finger bang each other in an Applebee's is, you know, common fare.
Right.
The whole orgy thing is where it gets hard to believe.
Well, the orgy, it's not like the orgy broke out right in front of me. They were talking about going back to one of their places and having an orgy. And part of it is like, you ever been around girls that are like fucking trashed and they'll act sluttier than they actually are in order to like turn on dudes, or just to kind of seem like, you know, kind of like crazy, or, you know, just kind of out there? I've seen that from being from New York. I've seen that kind of shit.
Oh, one sec, Vadim. Yeah. Pete, use your fucking voice.
Wait, can I just point something out? Can I just point something out real quick?
Yeah.
CNN just tweeted out, all mayor board of directors are less likely to crack down on sexual behavior. And it's a picture of Harvey Weinstein. What the fuck? That's weird.
Oh, dude, I actually was like reading one of those Harvey Weinstein articles, and I know one of the girls that is like talking about, she's one of the less known people, but I was just like, holy shit, that is crazy that my friend Dawn is in this article. Yeah, Dawn Dunning. She was in a band called the Bambi Killers, who were horrible.
Ugh, it sounds horrible.
Yeah, but just to wrap up about the Applebee's thing, like, if I was lying about it, why would I make up this lie where I don't get laid by a bunch of kind of not that attractive girls? Like, that's
what I was like saying in the chat.
Okay, good. Well,
it's
good.
like, why are people
back.
still tweeting at you? Why are still people still tweeting at you and commenting about this really not interesting story?
Oh, well, sorry to bore you, but it's
no, I'm saying
become a meme.
Peach is so needy.
Okay. I'm I'm saying it's an orgy that didn't even happen. If it did happen, then, you know, I can understand people being like, yo, Vadim, talk about the orgy some more. It's like,
I wasn't sure of the fucking story. I'd heard about this Applebee's story and apparent orgy, and apparently Vadim being a piece of shit because of it, so.
Everybody press one.
Okay, so Aiden's saying because you were drunk once and dug a hole. Guys, what is so hard to believe about this fucking story? I mean, this sort of thing happens in America all the goddamn time. Like, have you guys ever, like, gone out, like, you know, turn off your fucking computer and, like, go to a party or something? Because shit like this, it happens.
I mean, it happens to younger people usually, but sometimes it happens to people Vadim's age.
Ooh. Ooh, burn.
I could see that happening.
I'm just assuming you're older than me. You might actually be younger.
Press one in the chat if you think Amy should send me a booby picture.
All right, I'm gonna actually endorse that. Everybody in the chat, multiple ones, please. Sinatra needs some titties.
Hell yeah.
You should send it through me, though, Amy. I'll curate the pictures.
Open Bob. one.
There we go. There are a lot of ones in the chat.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Amy does look cute from like the avatar, but I've learned that, like, tiny little avatars, when they're blown up, people can look really attractive, and then once you see the picture in real life, it's just like, whoa, that's a disappointment.
She followed me on Twitter, and I went to creeping.
Amy says fuck off. You got no chance.
She followed me on Twitter, and I went to creeping. She's a cutie pie.
She's very
No, Amy, you know where the block button is.
I hear Twitter has a very good thing that you can report to for sexual sexual content assault. Yeah.
Oh my God, Amy, you called me an asshole?
Yeah, asshole.
Oh my God.
So Peach, if you get tits out of this,
yes, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
All right.
Send Peach tit.
Where's
Everyone send Peach titty pics.
Where is this woman on Twitter?
Yeah. Vadim has been told to check her out. Sinatra, that's a question aimed at you, buddy.
Oh.
Everyone except Vadim, check my channel, she says.
Oh. That's
Amy, what is your problem? Like what the fuck did I do to you? Fuck off.
All right, fine. I guess I can. Just take my word for it.
Sinatra?
No.
No. Cool. Good stream.
Yeah,
All right.
so.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.
Hey, don't steal my thing.
Yeah, you can't prematurely end the stream. Only Sinatra can do that.
And I'm not doing that yet because
I was gonna end the stream. I was just gonna like drop off.
I want a picture of her sweet breastises.
Oh, what the fuck happened to Shelly, Sinatra?
Eh.
Eh.
I just know somebody would get mad if they heard me say that. Here,
That's a worse insult than, you know, she's a cunt or something. Eh. That's way worse.
Yeah, she was cheating on me with another stream today, so.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Here, Peach.
Yeah. I like how this has just evolved so much.
Now it's all about creeping on the viewers.
Check that DM.
Now we've gotten to Sinatra wanting to bang Amy because Shelly fucking cheated on him with, I don't know, probably Vadim. Yeah, it could be worse, Sinatra. She could have banged fine.
I didn't expect that.
So in-group, out-group, tribalism. I think it's natural. I do. I think it's a natural thing to have your in-group and out-group. Whether it's geographically, but I think it's most likely going to end up being geographic.
Well, I mean, you've got the people that you speaking non-geographically, in this, in like the whole YouTube thing, you've got the people that you're kind of set up to dislike because of what you've seen of them. And then upon actually interacting with them, you get a little bit of a different opinion, right? But you are definitely set up for it from the start. Because especially people like Tim, Vadim, they're visible because people respond to them, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure most of the people on the platform would be perfectly, fine if we spoke in person, or, to know them as people would be totally different.
Oh no, if I ever meet Vadim, I'm punching him in the face. I'm pretty sure he's a Nazi.
If I ever meet Vadim, I'm gonna kidnap him and make him take me back to that Applebee's.
I'm not part of this.
Why does kidnapping have to be involved in that? I'd take you there willingly.
Say please.
Hell yeah. All right, that works.
Yeah, I might punch the cat too.
Oh, well, you can punch him. He can protect himself. So
that's
right.
one thing that is a good judge of character for me, more than political leanings, is whether they prefer cats or dogs. And I'm sorry, I can't do cat people.
Hell yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Peach knows what's up.
I knew there was a reason Peach had an issue with Vadim. It's the fucking cat.
Honestly, it is the cat. I don't have an issue
time.
with Vadim. I have an issue with the cat.
She's sitting here silent, and it's because she knows he's a fucking cat person.
There's a cat somewhere in this call, and I'm just not okay with it.
I'm all right with dogs. CC's not so crazy about dogs. His philosophy on dogs is fuck dogs. But I've had a few dogs.
Like literally, or
no, figuratively.
Okay.
Metaphorically.
There are some I've seen videos. There are some weird animal shit going on. That's all.
Yeah, some cats are more dominant than your dog. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, but if someone's given the choice between having a cat or having a dog, and they choose a cat willingly, that I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't. Cats.
If you've got no choice.
No, I'd pick a cat if I was broke, because you don't need to feed them. You can just throw them out back. They'll leave for a while, find some food, and come back.
You can't do that. It's really not allowed.
Wait, are you not
unless
allowed?
they're thoroughly belled and stuff, I guess. You can put them if they've got heaps of bells on, but yeah, they're not allowed to just go out and catch native animals here. I don't know. If
I have 6 cats, and they all just wander around.
Oh yuck! Why do I even?
Speckle, do you know what a ghetto cat is?
6?
No, don't worry. I only 6 because some of them are kittens right now.
Do you know what a ghetto cat is?
One
Speckle?
actual cat.
It's fucking ghetto cat.
Vadim, do you know what a ghetto cat is?
No, I live out in the middle of nowhere. They're like feral country cats.
But you know what a ghetto cat is, though.
Oh yeah.
See, they're a thing.
I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about just a cat that is literally in a city street?
Yeah, just a city ghetto cat that goes around and does cat things all day in the city.
I don't know why this is such a topic for you today.
Because before we were talking about boring shit, now we're talking about cats, so it's at least slightly entertaining.
I retweeted a video of a cat just knocking shit off a shelf today. And it got me thinking about flat earthers. And I'm sure that it's a meme somewhere that cats would just push everything over the edge by now if it was flat. And then I saw a picture of a lion that got scared by a bubble. And then I saw a tiger that got scared by a vacuum. And then it just kind of dawned on me that lions and tigers are literally just big cats.
Yes, that's why.
And it was such a fucking moron. In Canada, we're taught that at childhood.
No, well, I knew that they were feline animals, but in reality, they're just giant cats. They're not like a different
Yes,
breed of cat.
that's-
we know that.
They're just like
Canada
the same
with
cat
small
you have
children.
at your house, bigger.
That's
Haven't
a
you
well-known fact.
Haven't
Like,
you
they're
seen
not
the videos of like
Ferocious
haven't
hunters.
24 and just
Sinatra? Shmeko, shut up! You told me to talk. Sinatra,
Yes.
haven't you seen those videos of like the lions in the zoo cages and people are like have massive feather boas and just they jump and they reach for it just like a house cat would.
No, I never seen that.
They turn into like little balls of kitten when they see something fluffy.
No, I didn't know that.
Do this. Everyone knows that. Come on.
I want to buy a lion. That's the only cat I think I'm allowed to own is a lion.
Yeah, fair enough. Better than 6 cats. I didn't know Shmeko was a cat lady. That's fucked.
You know, 5 of them are
I don't know why I
kittens.
Schmeckle's a kitten lady.
excuses.
They're gonna all die soon.
I just don't understand how someone can
What?
not like cats.
Well, they're outside cats. They're not gonna make it.
I can understand like not being crazy about cats, but straight up not liking cats. Like there's something wrong with you.
I don't like cats. They're
I don't
boring.
dislike them. I just would never choose them over a dog.
I would never choose a cat.
And real sized dogs.
Dogs are just so fucking needy. Like it's that's my big problem with them. Like I love hanging out with them, but like having them for a pet, like they just get really too demanding.
You know what the best
This
pets
is way
are?
more divisive
Let
than
mine out
Trump.
back all
Trump
day
and
and
Hillary.
grow some food for them. It's not hard.
I like fish. I had a nice fish tank for a while. I like fish.
No, fish are garbage pets. They die too quick and they smell bad.
No, but they're so pretty when you do a good tank.
Yeah, but that seems like a lot of work for what's basically just a living decoration.
That's a good point.
You know,
I almost bought a fucking parrot.
Now, see, any animal I can't interact with is basically just a decoration.
You can interact with parrots.
Oh no, parrots are great. Snakes, lizards, all that. Fucking fish are useless.
Snakes are fun. What do you talk about? Not interact with snakes.
Sound clip, save it.
Those were all good
Wait,
things that you can interact with.
oh, okay.
Those were good animals.
If I had a pet
Or
bird,
decoration.
if I had a pet parrot, I'd have to teach it to say like blacks are criminals or something. Just something ridiculous. So in the background of my video, you just hear some ridiculous shit coming from this parrot. Oh,
I think
that'd be
that's-
fucked up if one of my friends were over and the dude just blacks are criminals and one of my black friends are over and he looks at me.
The first time I was in college, I lived with my my grandparents, and they have cockatiel, cockatoo, one of the two. And because I submitted a project too late one day, my email was like a minute late, and I went fuck. The bird now repeats that all the time.
All right, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out.
I don't know what else to say.
At this point, we are going to wrap it down. Vadim, do us a favor. Do the creationist cat voice real quick.
oh, dude, are you really gonna make me do
Yeah,
that?
I'm going to make you do it.
I can't do a creationist cat impression. Like Cece, I've never been able to like figure it out. It's like something like what is that? So I can't see. I just can't do it.
You just can't mimic him, eh?
Yeah, I've been around him for a long time, but I can't get his intonations down. It's really hard for me.
You should try stealing the vocal cords.
Stealing the vocal cords? What that sounds violent.
It probably would have to be.
It's the end all cats deserve, really.
Anyway, cunts, have a good fucking night. Our guests tonight were the people in the pictures down below.
And most importantly, me.
Yeah, most.